Hello everyone, I'm Melis. I'm one of the student assistants for this course, and today we will solve problem set 7. The first question says that we have an economy that produces three goods. Let me make it a little bit bigger. The goods are tangerines, ice cream, and noodle. So it gives us the table that has the information of their quantities and prices in years of 2014, 15, 16, and 17. It says that take 2014 as the base year, which is an important information for us, and says answer the following questions. The first question asks us to calculate CPI for each year. So how we calculate CPI? We use this formula. Like you said, for the numerator part, we multiply the price of the goods in the years that question asked for, and we multiply it with the quantities of these goods in the base year. For the denominator part, we use the prices and quantities of the base year, and we multiply them and we add it together. So let's look at our example. So if we calculate CPI for 2014, so remember that 2014 our base year. So for while using this formula, we only use 2014 prices because and quantities because 2014 is also the base year and the question asks us 2014. So first, let's look at tangerines prices. I'm right now doing this part. Tangerines prices in 2015 is $4, and their quantities is in 2014 is 8. So we multiply them, like you said, you see in here. Let's look at ice cream. They are $2 and their quantity is 10. So we multiply 10 with a 2, like in here. Let's look at noodle. And they are $3 and their quantity is 12. So we multiply. So let's look at the denominator part. We need to multiply base year and base year prices and quantities. So again, it is 2014. So we will do the same thing. We will multiply 4 with an 8, 2 with an 10, and 3 with a 12. So then we will multiply with 100, like in here. Because they are the same, we will find that it is equal to 100. So let me give you a little trick. If you calculate CPI for the base year, it will always be equal to 100 because the denominator and the numerator will be the same. So let's look at for 2015. I will use another color. So we need to multiply prices, I'm sorry, prices of these goods in 2015, but the quantities of these goods in 2014. So let's look. Tangerines are $5 and their quantity in 2015, which is the base year, is 8. So we will multiply them. And ice cream is again $2. Their quantity in 2014 is 10, so we multiply them. And noodles, they are $3, and their quantity in 2014 is 12, so we multiply. So the denominator part will be the same for all years because we multiply prices and quantities of the base year. So I'm not doing it again. And then we will find out the CPI in 2015 is 109.1. So I'm not doing it for 2016 and 17, not to spend more of your time. If you don't understand, you can send an email or you can join the office hours, but you just use this formula. So let's look at the B part. It asks us to calculate the rate of inflation based on the CPI for all years. So inflation rate between 2015 and 2014. We use this formula. Let me make it bigger. Sorry. Okay. So we just subtract 2014 CPI out of 2015 CPI, and we will divide it by 2014 CPI. So this is the formula. If you calculate the inflation between 2014 and 15, if you calculate the inflation rate between 2015 and 16, you will subtract 2015's CPI from 2016 CPI. So we just found out the CPIs before in the A part. So 2015 CPI was 109.1 and 2014 CPI was 100 in here. So we subtract and divide it by 100 and we will find that it is 9.1%. So let's look at 2015 and 2016 inflation rates. Inflation rate between 2015 and 2016. So we found that 2016 CPI is 134.1 and 2015 CPI is 109.1. So we subtract and divide it by 109.1 and we will find that it is 22%, 22.9%. So I'm not doing it for 2017 because it is same calculation. So let's look at what the question asked in here. So it asks us to compute the nominal GDP for each year. So how we calculate nominal GDP? If it asks us for 2014, for example, we will multiply the prices and the quantities in 2014. So let's look. Tangerines was $4 in 2014 and their quantity was 8. So we will multiply 8 with 4. And ice creams was $2 and their quantity was 10. So we multiply 10 with 2. And noodles are $3 and their quantity is 12. So we multiply it and we add all up together and we will find that it is $88. So let's look for 2015's nominal GDP. So now we will multiply 2015 prices with 2015 quantities. So first tangerines was $5 and their quantity is 9. So we multiply 9 with 5. And ice cream was $2 and their quantity is 14. So we multiply 14 with 2. And for noodles, they're $3 and their quantity is 12. So we multiply 12 with the $3 and we will find that nominal GDP in 2015 is $109. So it is the same for the other years. It's the same formula, so I'm not doing it again. Let's look for the B part. Compute the real GDP for each year using 2014 prices. Now we will use 2014 prices, but the quantities for each year. So real GDP for 2014. Let's look. The prices of tangerines is $4 and their quantity in 2014 is 8. So we multiply 8 to 4. Ice creams are $2 and their quantity is 10. And we multiply 10 to 2. And noodles are $3 and their quantity is 12. So we multiply 12 to 3. So we will find out the same because we use the same quantities and same prices, but it will be different in 2015 because we will use 2014 prices, but 2015's quantities. So let's look. I will use another color. So the prices, again, we will use 2014 prices. Tangerines were $4, and their quantity in 2015 was 9. So we multiply 9 with a 4. Ice creams were $2. Their quantity is 14. So let's multiply 14 with 2. And noodles are $3, and their quantity is 12. So we will multiply 12 with a 3, and we will find that it equals to $100. So you will use the same formula for the other years. So again, I'm not doing it. So it's asked us in the C parts to compute the GDP deflators for all years. So how we calculate GDP deflator? We divide nominal GDP by real GDP and multiply with 100. So part A, we found nominal GDPs for these years, and if we want to calculate GDP deflator for 2014, we need nominal GDP in 2014 and real GDP for 2014. So we found that in here that nominal GDP in 2014 is $88, and real GDP for 2014 is again the same, $88. So we will divide 88 by 88 and multiply with 100. So we will find out 100. Let's look for GDP deflator in 2015. Now we need nominal GDP and real GDP in 2015. So we know that, let me clear this up. We know that nominal GDP in 2015 is 109, and real GDP in 2015 is 100. So we divide 109 by 100 and multiply with 100. So we will find 100. 109, I'm sorry. So you will use the same formula for the other years, so I'm not doing it again. So it asks us to calculate the rate of inflation based on the GDP deflator for all years. So we will use this formula. Let me find that again. So we will use this formula. So if we want to find out the inflation rate between 2014 and 15, we will subtract 2014's GDP deflator out of 2015 GDP deflator and divide it by 100 because it is the GDP deflator for 2014 and multiply with 100. So it was 109 and like in here. And GDP deflator for 2014 is 100, and GDP deflator for 2014 is 100. So if you do the calculation, you will find that it is 9%. Let's look inflation rate between 2015 and 2016. So GDP deflator for 2016 is 136.11, so it is here, and GDP deflator for 2015 is 109, so we subtract, and GDP deflator for 2015 is 109, so we divide it by 109 and multiply with 100, so we will find that it is 24.87%. So I'm not doing it for, again, 2017 because it is the same. So let's look the second question. So we know that we calculate GDP with this formula. It's not, um, maybe if I write it, it will be more clear. So, sorry, let me change the color. So GDP is equal consumption plus investment plus government spending plus exports minus imports. So we will use this formula while answering these questions. So when if a family buys a new refrigerator, they will increase their um, increase their personal consumption. So let me use a pen. So if consumption increases, GDP will also increase. So it will increase the GDP. Aunt Mary buys a new house. It is an investment. A house it's an investment good. And so if investments increase, GDP will also increase. Ankara municipality builds a new highway, which is an government spending. If government spending increase, GDP will also increase. Your parents buy a bottle of French wine, which is a personal consumption. But let's say your parents live in Turkey, and if they buy a French wine, it's an import. So it also increases imports, and you see there's a minus sign. So consumption will increase because they do a personal consumption, but net exports, which is exports minus imports, will decrease because the bottle is imported. So let's look the E part. So Honda expands its factory in Ohio. So investments increase because building a factory is an investment. So GDP will increase. So let's look at the question 4. Sorry. So for the third question, I wrote something like this to make it more clear for you guys. I know there are answers in here, but let you see. So a wheat farmer, so he's the first guy. He produced something and sells it to 10 TL. Before him or her, it was 0. Let me use another color. It was 0. So he sells to $10. So the value added, how we find value added, you will subtract 10, you will subtract 0 out of 10. So value added is $10. So then he sells it to Miller, and Miller sells it to $25. He or she bought it to $10. So the value added from the Miller is 25 minus 10, so 50. So Miller sells it to $25, and Baker sells it to something, but he or she added $16. So we add 25 to 60. So we will find Baker sells it to $85. So groceries bought it to $85, and he or she sells it to $95. So the value added from the groceries you will 95 minus 85 is $10. I hope it's clear. So then you will multiply 10, I'm sorry, not multiply, add 10, 15, 16, and 10 together, and you will find that the total value added, it is 95. Let's look at this example. Again, it was 0 before coffee grower, and he or she sells it to 15. So 15 minus 0, oh, 15. Accidentally, I cleared this up too. So roster sells it to 35. So he or she bought it to 15 and sells it to 35. 35 minus 15 is 20. So value added 20. Then shipper and wholesaler bought it to 35, and he or she added $25. So 35 plus 25 is 60. Starbucks coffee in Excellent, they bought it to 60, and they added $60 too. So 60 plus 60, 120. So this question is like this. So let me clear this up. Okay. So let's look at the question 4. So we are an employee, and we have the information of some people, and we will find out that if they are employed, unemployed, or not in the labor force. So let's look. During the entire week containing the 20th of the month, Monica Geller misses work simply because he didn't feel like going to work. So Monica Geller has a job, and she's employed, but she's not going to work because she's not feeling like. She is temporarily absent with or without pay, but she's considered employed. Phoebe Buffet is a volunteer, 20 hours a week on a rape crisis telephone hotline. She feels she makes an important contribution to society and would not accept a paid job if one were offered to her. So Phoebe is not in the labor force because she will not accept a job, even if one offered to her. So she doesn't have a motivation to work on a paid job. So she's not in the labor force. So Joey Tribbiani is a successful film star, age 32, and he has earned 5 million each year for the past 5 years. Currently, Joey is filming a new movie on location in Las Vegas. So Joey is getting paid, and Joey is employed. Ross Geller, a full-time PhD student, is involved in groundbreaking research in paleontology. His dissertation advisor has already claimed that Ross' work will, let's look at here, change the history of the world. So Ross is not in the labor force because Ross is a PhD full-time student. Chandler Bing is an executive in statistical analysis and data reconfiguration for a large multinational corporation. This job pays him well, so Chandler is getting paid and works, so Joey is paid and employed. Rachel Green found the job as an assistant buyer at Bloomingdale's. She has been working for 3 months. Her boss pays her minimum wage. So Rachel works and gets paid. So Rachel is employed and paid. So let's look at the question 5. So according to the cases which are given below, classify the unemployment which is experienced by individuals as frictional, structural, and cyclical unemployment. So for this question, you should know these unemployments types meaning. So they are in the Shinhoja slide, so you can find it in here. So Selin, who has a lot of work experience and knowledge, quits her job. I'm sorry, I wrote her job to find better job with a higher wage. So if Selin quit his job to found a better job, we it is frictional unemployment. Ali loses his job in factory because the factory was moved to another city. It is structural unemployment. It is the absence of demand for a certain type of job. So if the factory was moved to another city, maybe the city has a better source. I don't know. It is a structural unemployment. For Part C, Berg cannot find a job because of the decrease in the demand for the economies as an outcome of the recession period. The important word in here is recession. If there is a recession, and that's why people cannot find jobs, it's a cyclical unemployment. And Elif cannot catch up with the new technology, cannot keep pace with the new production techniques, is dismissed from her job. It's a structural unemployment again if Elif cannot catch up the technology. There's employee don't demand for the people like Elif because she's not catch up with the technology. It is structural unemployment. So let's look at the question 6. The population of the nation of Andorrans is 3 million, and 1.5 million of the population are at 16 or older. 1 million of this population are currently working, and 400,000 of the population are searching for a job. However, 40,000 have given up searching for a job, and 60,000 do not want to work. Given this information, found out this question. So first, found the number of unemployment people. So it always says that 400,000 of population are searching for a job. This means they're unemployed. So we know. Find the size of the labor force. We know the labor force is employed people and unemployed people. So 1 million of this population are currently working, which is they're employed, and 400,000 of the population are searching for a job and they're unemployed. So we add them up and we will find out the size of the labor force. Found the number of discouraged workers. It says that 40,000 have given up searching for a job, which is they're discouraged. They don't want to search for a job, so they are discouraged workers. And calculate the unemployment rate. How we calculate unemployment rate? We know the unemployment people's number of unemployment people. We will divide it by labor force. So unemployment people, which we found out in here, 400,000, and we will divide it by labor force, which we found out that it is 1,400,000 people. So we divided unemployment people by labor force, and we will multiply with 100. We will find that it is 28.6. So calculate the labor force participation rate. How we found that we will divide labor force by population over the age of 16. So labor force, we know that it is this. and population over age 16, which the information gives us in here, 1.5 million. So we divided them and multiply with 100, we will find that it is 93.33. The part F says it is determinant that natural rate of unemployment rate is 6%. What is the level of cyclical unemployment? So we know the labor force is this, and we will multiply it with 6%, and we will find out the natural unemployment number of natural unemployment people. So if we subtract natural unemployment out of the unemployment people, we will find out the cyclical unemployment number of cyclical unemployment. So let's look at the multiple choice question. I will do this. So okay, I guess it will be better. So macroeconomy seeks to understand economic growth, business cycles, and inflation. We know that it's is the basic information, so I'm not talking about that. Which of the following goods is directly counted in GDP? So let's look part A, the lettuce that Subway purchased for its sandwich. It is not counted in GDP because Subway, we only calculate the final goods in the GDP, and this is not a final good. The bread that Subway purchases for its sandwich, it is not a final good again. The plastic bag Subway purchases to wrap its sandwich, it is not a final good. But at 20-inch Subway sandwich purchased by a student is a final good. So if we calculate, if we add part A, B, and D to the GDP, we will do double counting because this sandwich has these in it. So we just need to calculate, we just need to add the final goods. So let's look question 3. Refer to the table above. Suppose that a simple economy produces only 4 goods and services: sweatshirts, dental examinations, coffee drinks, and coffee beans. Assume all the coffee beans are used in the production of the coffee drinks. So coffee drinks are the final goods, but coffee beans are not. Because we use coffee beans to produce coffee drinks. Using the information in the above, nominal GDP for this economy equals to, so let's look. So switchers quantity is 50 and their prices is 35. So we need to do a little calculation in here. Let me use my calculator. So if we multiply 50 with 35, we will find that it will be equal to 1,000. So I'm sorry for bad writing. So I should use this too. It will be better. So yes, it is here. So dental examinations, we will multiply 40 with 75. So it is 3,000. Coffee drinks, their quantity is 1,000, and we will multiply it with their price is 4. So it will be 4,000. So I'm not calculating coffee beans because it's not a final good. So we don't we only use final goods for calculating GDP. So if we add these 3 together, we will find that is equal to 800 700 8 I'm sorry 8,750. So let's look at here. I'm sorry. So this is the answer. So we only calculate finals. So please answer the next two questions referring to the table below. The unemployment rate for this economy is equal. So we will use unemployment rate. So let me use this. So how we calculate unemployment rate? We will divide unemployment rate by labor force. So labor force is equal to the employment people plus unemployment people, which is this. I'm sorry for the base writing again, and we will multiply with 100. So this is how we calculate unemployment rate. So answer is option B. Labor force participation rate for this economy is equal. So how we calculate labor force? So we will need to divide labor force by the working age population, which is here. So we will do this calculation. I'm writing so ugly. So this is how we calculate the labor force participation rate. So let's look at the other question. Suppose the labor force and working age population stay constant. However, those who were once unemployed because they become employed. The labor force participation rates remain constant because how we calculate labor participation rates? Let me use this. So labor, let me write it. So labor participation rates is equal to, maybe it would be better if I do this. Let me. So this is how we calculate labor force participation rate. It should be also so this is how we calculate labor force participation rate. So it says that labor force and working age population stays constant, but the unemployment people become employed. So unemployment people will be employed. So rather than writing here unemployed, they will be plus employed. The number will not change. So there is nothing in here that changes. Just unemployment people will be employed, but labor participation, the labor force is already employing people plus unemployed people. So there will be nothing change, so it will remain constant. So let's continue. In a closed economy, which of the components of GDP is not equal included? So closed economy means that the country don't export goods or import goods. So normally we said that GDP is equal to consumption plus investment plus government expenditure plus exports minus imports. But if it's a closed economy, we're not doing getting export, we're not getting imports, or we're not doing sending imports. So we're not we don't have nothing with export and import. So we just calculate consumption, investments, and government spendings. So net exports will not be included in the GDP if it's a closed economy. If it's an open economy, it will be the same. Yeah. If it's an open economy, we will use this. But if it's a closed economy, we're not using this. Let's look at the question 8. It says, in a closed economy, which of the following equations reflects investments? So, like I said earlier, GDP in a closed economy is equal to consumption plus investment plus government spending. So if we left investment alone in here, let me do it. So if we left investment alone, GDP minus consumption minus government expenditure. So GDP is also can be set as Y. So you can write it like this, right? Like this. It's the same. So the answer is A. So let's clear this up. The broadest measure of the price level that includes all final goods and services is the GDP deflator. It's the basic definition of the GDP deflator, so I'm not talking more about this question. So it says that GDP equals 125 in 2007, when 2000 is the base year, means that the average level of prices is 25% higher in 2007 than in the base year. Why? Because when we calculate GDP, we use same quantities but different prices. So when we calculate GDP in 2007, when 2000 is the base year, we use 2000. We use the quantities of these goods in 2000, but we use the prices of these goods in 2007. So while doing it, we will find out how the prices are changed. So if it's equals to 125, it means that the prices is 25% higher. So this is why the answer is option C. So Emily is a writer. She buys a paper and pen for $20 and writes a 500-page novel and sells to publishing company for 500,000. If the publisher prints 1 million copies that sell for 25 each, what is the contribution to GDP of Emily's novel? So we only calculate the final goods, and the final good is the book that publisher sells it for $25, and the publisher prints 1 million copies. So 1 million, we will multiply 1 million with $25, and the answer will be 25 million. Nick has graduated from college and is now looking for a job, but has not yet found one. This causes the unemployment rate to increase because now he's in the labor force and he's unemployment, but he's looking for a job. And the labor force participation rates to increase because when we calculate labor force is equal to people that are employed and plus people that are unemployed. So when Nick started looking for a job, he will increase the number of unemployed people. So he will increase also labor participation rate. The term business cycles refers to short-term ups and downs in the level of economic activity. So it's also a definition, so I'm not talking more about it. So during which period of the time is the economy in a recession in the business cycle? So recession means that there is a down in the economy. So um, where is the down? So point C to E, there is a down in the economy. So the answer is option D. The period from A to B, the part of A to B, we see that there is an increase in the GDP, so it's an expansion. So that's all for now. I guess that the questions and answers were all clear. If you have any questions, you can always send a mail or you can always come to the office hours. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a good day.